Sabu Cyril, who created all those magnificent palaces that you saw in the first part of Bahubali, and I'm told the second part is going to be even more grand. Sabu Cyril. KK Senthil, the man, the director of photography who actually transformed much of Rajamouli's vision and dreams into reality on the big screen. No, I think Rajamouli, you need to. I suddenly thought we put one chair less. Senthil this side. And finally, the man who put his money, the most important man, Shobhu Yarlagada. 79 more days to go for the release of Bahubali, Part 2, the conclusion. And if Shobhu took 1 rupee every time a person asked the question, and I'm sure all of us know what the question is, I'm sure that must have been good enough to fund the second part of Bahubali. How many times have you been asked?
Your estimation is more or less correct.
Okay. I was watching Iga the other day. That's one of the other big, very interesting movies of a housefly taking revenge, which you must have seen. It was called Makki in
Hindi, that's right.
And the journey you made from a tiny housefly to a larger-than-life Bahubali. What has it been? You have been working on this movie for the last 5 years, from the time you actually conceived it and shooting it. What has been the journey like for you, personally? Eat, drink, dream, Bahubali?
Yeah, more or less. For me, I always wanted to make this larger-than-life film with larger-than-life characters, larger-than-life film settings, or whatever you call it. All my films, starting from student number 1, and all the films are like learning experiences for me to do this big film. So each and every film I was learning something more that could help me make Bahubali. Iga was a very good experience in getting the scales right, because we are talking about a small, tiny housefly.
And the technology.
Yeah, the technology, and where everything looks larger. So when it came to Bahubali, the humans are like fly size, and all the waterfalls and waterfalls or the palaces or everything was so large. So technically, Iga was a lot of help for us, for me and Sendil, to get the scaling properly right.
Since we have Team Bahubali here, and here is the dreamer, but how much of grief does he give to each one of you when he wants you to transform his dreams into reality? I'll start with you, Sabu, because you are the ones who has to create all those big palaces. Is he a tough taskmaster?
He's really a tough taskmaster. But when you see him working, I think we are not doing enough. So we had to work and push our level to the next level. And I think the dream, it was his vision, and we had to make it happen for him. So I took it as a challenge, and first time when he met me, he showed me a visual which he wants to bring it into the film. That was the waterfall, which was about 2,000 feet waterfall or something like that. So I knew what scale he was looking at. Because initially I was thinking, why is he calling me for a Telugu film? Should I be a part of it? Then I heard the subject. But the same subject can be done on different levels, scales. When I saw this picture, I knew what was his dream. Then I knew it was not an easy film.
So what was your first impression about Rajamouli?
See, actually, he comes as a very soft-spoken, humble. So
Appearances are deceptive.
Yeah, because I actually never knew about. I know about the film called Makki, which came in. Yes. I had a son. I thought he conceived it quite well and made it happen. It was a very. So I knew intelligence. Like, he's an intelligent director, and I would like to work with people who challenges me to do something which is beyond which others have done, and I wanted to show them it can be done. Okay. So I think it was a good challenge.
Senthil, this is the 8th movie you have worked with Rajamouli.
Yeah.
Good habit, bad habit?
A very difficult habit. He is someone, see, I've been working with him since probably 2003 or something. With every film, what I have seen is he's thirsty for doing something more. His thirst for doing something which people have not done, or like something, getting into new zones where people have not, it's like getting into unventured territories. He's his, what I can say, his passion. So he's not, I did one thing, now this is my comfortable zone, no, I don't want to stay there. So in the same way,
So
he's
he
pushing
pushes you out of the
yeah,
comfort zone.
So it's like, for example, in Makki, I unlearned whatever I did till Makki. And okay, this is how we do it. Since with Bahubali, you have to unlearn Makki also. So it is like with every film, it's living up to his expectation itself is a big challenge.
So how difficult will it be if another producer director calls you to shoot their movie?
Now I don't know what to do after Bahubali actually.
As I said, the most important person, because you are putting the money on Rajamouli's dream. Give us a sense of how much it cost in the first place.
It's, I think both projects put together is around 400 and under 450 crores.
450 crores, and that makes it the most expensive movie.
Yeah, as a project, yeah.
As a project.
It's definitely as a project, yeah.
Shobhu, were there moments at any time when you thought, am I doing the right thing?
Definitely, I would be
But
lying
there
if I definitely, I would be lying if I wasn't going to. Anybody would go through that, especially in the first part when we were, towards.
Tell us what was going on in your mind.
No, see, it's a very conflicting emotions. Like when you, I truly believed and I believe in the vision that Rajamouli had and his passion and what we're all together working for. And I knew that every rupee was going towards the film. It's not going to someone's fancies or someone's, like I said, the remuneration component is very, very small in this whole project. The total amount, very marginal, very small amount went to the remuneration. So predominantly, most of it went into the project. So the money was being spent well, and I knew that. And it is going to show on the screen, and it's going to reflect in the when people see the movie. But at the same time, it's something that no one has done before. So it's kind of uncharted territory, and there's always a lot of doubt whether these kind of monies can be recuperated, and how do you generate that kind of, as the budgets are going around, how do you generate that kind of cash flows to pump in and keep it alive, the project, without stalling at certain points. So these are all the emotions that go through you, the doubts that creep in, and I think the doubts were...
Did he give you grief?
No, actually, it was, again, like I said, it's conflicting. There's not really a grief.
Tell me, were there people who dissuaded you against putting in so much of money into a project?
Yes,
even Telugu movies aren't of this kind of scale.
No, not even Hindi movies.
Yes.
So, no, I mean, there was definitely, within my immediate circle, there was no dissuasion. Me, my partner, we were all in it. We decided to go it all the way. But there is, definitely, if we had listened to the industry people or other people, there would definitely have been multiple people, many people who thought we were fools, we were crazy, we were stupid, and there was all sorts of things. But I think we survived.
How does it feel now to look smarter?
Like someone said, the day before the release, people thought we were stupid and idiots, and then the day after, they thought we were genius. So.
So now you're running the last leg of the marathon, another 79 days to go. You're telling me backstage about how the sleeping hours are now going to get reduced almost by the day. What is going on in your head right now? Is it like, I'll just get finished with this project and take a long break? What is it? What is going on in your mind?
No.
The shooting part is over, the post-production remains.
Yes, the shooting part is over. It was quite hectic by the time we came to the end of the shooting. I'm actually eagerly looking forward to sit in the post-production, to give the final touches, because during shooting no one understands how it is actually taking shape. It is on the editing table, it is on the during the post-production that it actually comes, the vision, all the dreams that you had comes into actual form. So I'm very eagerly looking forward to do the final editings, to see the VFX shots come in, to do the background score and all that. I'm very eagerly looking forward to my whole post-production.
I was speaking to Suresh Babu, eminent producer and also the father of Rana Daggubati, who plays Bhalala Deva in your movie, and he was saying that the conclusion, part 2, has shaped up far better than the first part. When you go back 5 years and think of how you conceived it in the first place, has it kind of all fallen in place? Is that the way you would see it, or probably even better?
It would never happen. The actual product, I think for any filmmaker, it would never come into the actual to the level that we have dreamed, because mind has no limitations. So the conceiving would be sky high. And when we actually get to shoot it, to produce it, to make it into reality, it always keeps a bit short of what we have dreamed. But the whole journey is to get it there, to push it to that point, to how much, to the maximum level that you can.
So you speak about pushing. Senthil, what are the nature of discussions that he would have with you before actually planning a particular sequence or planning a particular shot? Because you are the one who's actually putting it on screen.
With Rajamouli, his vision is very clear. So there are so many aspects, as he told, like suppose once I set up my camera, there are so many aspects which has to be taken care of, like whether, first of all, is the emotion coming out right? That is the first and foremost point. Then the kind of sets which Sabu sir has put up, whether they have been exploited to the great extent. At the same time, the artists are looking good. At the same time, the costumes which we have done so much of homework on, it's coming out right. So there are like so many things, like, okay, like way to put the camera, how to do it, and also the whole discussion is about getting the right possible frame so that everything is, as he told, the money spent should be seen in it. So the first thing is like getting the emotion right is the major aspect of it. Then like it's all about, like, the discussion is always about how to get one step better than what we have done. So Bahubali part 1 we have achieved something, so second part has to be definitely better than that. So it's not only every shot, it is every frame that we have been working tirelessly to get.
So in a sense you are competing with yourself, with your own creation in part 1. Sabu, would you count Bahubali part 1 and part 2 as your biggest and best projects ever?
Actually, I've done 115 films.
Yes.
And this is my 115th film, which Bahubali 2. And I think it is like 2 films. It was an experience of 10 films experience, as if I was doing 10 films. Because even I learned a lot.
Why I also ask is that because art directors don't really get the pride of place. Of course, legends like you and Tota Tarni sir are legends in Indian cinema. But in that sense that their work doesn't get noticed. As Senthil was just mentioning, it was very important to show the scale of your creation.
See, our job is such, it's an irony in our profession where, see, the more better you do and realistic, you go unnoticed.
Yes.
And that is what we need to, because finally the subject should work and his vision should come through.
Yes.
So we are in the back, behind the camera. And my challenge for that film was to do everything, get everything done in a time frame. And everything was huge. We had used so many cranes, industrial cranes.
Just give a sense of how many carpenters, how many people you actually used.
See, every day minimum of 500 and up to 2,000 people used to work for me for 5 years. And,
my God.
And to shift the things, whatever we had done, we were using at least 2 to 3 cranes minimum every day to shift things from one place to another, put it in its place.
So it would be a logistical nightmare, more than anything else.
It was not easy. It was more like I was like an engineer, architect, put everything together actually. We had laid roads to put set actually. Almost 100 trucks of mud was put to create road into a quarry and things like off late.
Okay.
Basically.
Backstage when I was discussing with Team Bahubali, Shobhu, the producer, said that we are still counting how much we have spent. Right? So, if you have to count for every truck and every crane, I guess it's a difficult job. Right? Now, when you look at Bahubali now, as I said, another 3 months the movie will be released. What do you think it has done to Indian cinema in general? Because it's no longer seen as just a Telugu cinema product. It has crossed, all kinds of boundaries. What do you think Bahubali has done which no movie before could do?
I'm a very wrong person to ask the question. You should be telling that answer. I should be asking, and you should be answering that. In the sense that,
obviously, as I said, it has crossed boundaries. Was it because of the scale of the movie, which no Indian audience at least had seen in an Indian movie? Or was the subject universal? What really?
All those things put together. When a film is hugely successful and brings in money, whatever the film might be, it can be a historical film, it can be just a love story. When it crosses the generally imagined barriers, it opens up corridors for all the filmmakers for the producers to pump in more money, or for the creators to think in different ways.
Why I
different
also
ways.
ask this, Rajamouli, is that while Telugu cinema has a history of mythological films, Hindi cinema doesn't really have that kind of a tradition. What do you think made even the Hindi audience actually get attracted to the product that you put out?
Somehow I don't believe that one kind of people from one region or one language will watch certain genre of films, or listen to only a certain genre of storytelling. I don't believe that. Human is a human, whether it's a Hindi speaking or a Tamil speaking or a Telugu speaking. You know, the human emotions between a father and mother, or a daughter and a sister, or whatever relations, it is the same across the whole world. So when you place your story or base your story on human emotions, and when it's told in an effective way where language is not the barrier, your visuals tell the story. Film is a visual medium. When your visuals tell the story, I don't think language, I never believed language is a barrier. I believed in Makki too. I believed that in Makki too, but when we released Makki in Hindi, we couldn't get a proper release. It didn't fetch the kind of money that I expected it to. But I was not disappointed, because on television Makki was a super duper successful. So I always had belief in that. You base your story on general human emotions and you tell it in a rich visual medium, it will be accepted. And luckily with Bahubali we got a proper distributor, say Karan Johar or AA Films. We had a proper thing planned and it fetched.
Backstage when we were discussing with Tamanna, one of the things that she said in your presence is that Rajamouli does almost everything. Whether it is sword fighting to actually playing out some scenes. So tell me, what is Rajamouli the director like?
No, actually the secret is that I enjoy doing that. So
Okay.
on guise of taking care of the actors, I try to do all those stunts and enjoy myself. As a director, I don't like to compromise on my visuals, and sometimes I understand that I'm putting my technicians and my actors into difficult positions. Sometimes I know that I'm hurting them. But still I don't like to compromise on my visuals. And I think even they, when they see that I'm working only towards the betterment of the product, not because of some ego issues or anything, they give their 100%. So I think it is, as a director, I think I'm
How good are you at sword
compromising.
fighting?
I'm nothing. As I was telling you, I just take it as an excuse to enjoy myself.
Okay. Now, Bahubali is no longer just a movie, it's a brand. And there are efforts, especially with Bahubali, the conclusion, to actually raise the stakes. We have a small video presentation that Shobho... the VR video. If you could actually play it out, Ranjit. Is he around somewhere?
We humans are always in awe of things more powerful than us. Grand, majestic, monumental. From Ben-Hur to Bahubali, filmmakers strive to create this awe using scale.
Bahubali is a larger-than-life experience. Everything about it, the architecture, the landscape, the characters, all are huge. We created the scale, but I was not satisfied with the experience delivered in a conventional movie theater. I wanted the audience to be inside the world of Bahubali. I wanted them to get mesmerized by the sheer size of the palaces, the kingdom, and also interact with the characters in a way they never did before.
To realize the vision of Rajamouli, we created a special VR supercomputer camera called VB360cc. We took a path that no one dared to attempt before. A photoreal VR experience with full interactivity. The fully immersive and interactive CG experience was developed by John Griffith and his team using the lumberyard game engine. The technology planning for this project took more than 12 months for us. And then we presented the proof of concept and the tools to Rajamouli and convinced him that we can deliver on his vision.
So we created Sword of Bahubali, a VR experience. There will be two characters, Sadhu and Samya. One of them will be you, traversing through the world of Bahubali. And based on the choices you make, you might go into the palace courtyard, you might go into the battlefield, you might be facing a rogue elephant, or you might be facing the mighty Palal Deva. And the climax will be something that you wouldn't expect.
This VR experience will premiere in April, just before the release of Bahubali 2, the conclusion.
It will be available in 50 locations so that you can enjoy in the best possible way.
We'll install 400 high-end VR pods in public places like malls, entertainment centers, theaters around the country.
Now the camera turned in 360 degrees. Next time you can turn at your own will in 360 degrees and enjoy the show. Are you ready for the immersive experience?
Do you dream while sleeping or you dream while you are awake? To create all that.
I daydream a lot. So this virtual reality was first introduced to me when I was shooting for the part 1 by Raja Koduri, who happens to be my cousin. He's the senior vice president of Radiant Technologies in AMD. I was blown away. I was just wearing this headgear and I was sitting in a seat, but what I was feeling is that I was going on a tour around the. It was a roller coaster ride. Halfway through through that experience, I started thinking, how can I make films with this medium? How can I tell stories with this medium? Because it was so powerful. See, film is so powerful because you can make people feel that they are in a different world. But with virtual reality, you can take them into that world. And the experiences, the emotions that you can give them are so powerful. So I was wondering from that time how to make...
made Bahubali into a very different kind of experience.
Bahubali, the film is the film. Bahubali 2 Conclusion is a film like you watch the first film. But along with that, we are also creating another film, a virtual reality experience called the Sword of Bahubali.
And along with that also there are comic books. It is now also a comic character.
Yeah, With the world is there's graphic novels. There's a 3-novel trilogy which is based on the backstories of Bahubali, which is from starting of Shivgami as a child and her growth to power. That's in the trilogy, and then we have mobile gaming, and live-action television series and animated television series coming up.
You just mentioned that Raj is your cousin. The story of Bahubali is written by Rajamouli's father. Your wife Rama works with you. The music is composed by your cousin Kirwani. So it's all in the family in that sense.
Yeah, it is.
How do you keep yourself grounded? Doesn't all this adulation, praise get to your head?
Yeah, it does, but luckily I have a family who has the ability to wrap me on my head and keep me grounded.
Right. Your father wrote the story. Was he happy with the kind of scale, the canvas that you had actually transformed his story, his script to, his story to?
Yes, very much.
He's a very proud father, I must.
He hugged me twice or thrice, which he never did in my entire life, and and I was very happy.
Okay. Obviously, the questions that will be asked is what next? And I don't think you are free for the next 4 years because you already committed to 2 projects, 2 Telugu projects. What is going to be on Rajamouli's horizon for the next decade?
My dream has always been to do Mahabharata, you know, in a scale that has been never seen before. People have to experience it in a way that they never ever have imagined it before.
For that Senthil will have to unlearn Bahubali.
Yes, very much. He must.
So, when you say Mahabharata, again, what is Rajamouli's Mahabharata going to be like?
Frankly, I don't know at this point of time. I just know that as a child, when I started reading the Amar Chitra Kathas of various stories of Mahabharata, the kind of emotion that I had never went down until now. Even today, if I pick out one story, if I think of one character, one incident of Mahabharata, it moves me immensely. It shakes me up from the core. So each and every person that watches my Mahabharata has to experience that emotion. That is the only thing that I know.
So when the history of Indian cinema is going to be written, say if you are talking about Bahubali in the year 2050, how do you think Rajamouli, Bahubali the film and Team Bahubali is going to be remembered? What mark do you think it has made in Indian cinema?
I actually think as a filmmaker, we don't actually remember the films. Even as children, we don't remember the films. What we remember is the experience when we saw the film. That is what we remember.
Of Mughal Azam or a Sholay or
exactly. The thing what we talk about is Sholay, but what we actually remember, what we talk about with excitement, is the emotion that we felt when we watched that film. That makes us that stays with us. We might remember few scenes, we might forget few scenes, but that experience we never forget. So 30 years from now, as you are saying, I expect people to remember the kind of euphoria they had when they watched the film Bahubali.
But do you see Bahubali as some kind of a turning point for Indian cinema to be able to embrace this kind of a canvas, this kind of a technology?
I don't know. Actually, if you look at it, Bahubali, I think we used more complex technology during Makki for Riga rather than Bahubali. Bahubali is about canvas. I don't know. I don't know at this point of time. We don't know whether it's a turning point or not. But definitely, Bahubali will be a chapter in Indian annals of film
After
history.
Bahubali, does what all you did with Magadhira seems like kid stuff?
No, it can never be. Each and every film of mine is very dear to me, and I can never forget what Magadhira did to me and my career.
Okay. On a slightly different note, the Andhra Pradesh government has actually invited Rajamouli to advise them on how to construct, design Amravati, the new capital of Andhra Pradesh.
No, don't put it in that way.
What exactly do they want from you?
No, what Amravati capital is a huge project. I'm
So
nowhere
do they
even
want
qualified
you, want
to
it
do
to be like
anything of that.
the kingdom of Mahishmati?
No, what actually they wanted was to the assembly building and the high court, the facade, the appearance of the buildings. They wanted it to represent the culture and the history of Telugus. That's what they wanted. That itself is a huge job, and I tried to explain that I'm not not a right person capable of doing that. They wanted to know how I did Bahubali, the architecture of Bahubali, and I explained them the methodology we followed, the philosophy we followed, and they were quite impressed in the methodology, not the actual designs of the Bahubali. So it had a Western architect. So they thought I could help them with getting the history or whatever we did for Bahubali, whatever philosophy we followed. They thought I can help on the same angle. Let's see what happens.
Right. Okay. Any questions, comments to any member of Team Bahubali? Shreya. He's coming. It's on. Yeah. No.
Hello.
Well, it was lovely listening to all of you. But as a director, even when I work with you, your vision is massive, and you explain it to your actors and everyone in great detail. But there is always a difference between what you dream, what you imagine, and the reality. And I feel that you bridge it really well, but bridge the gap really well. But if at all there is a difference, how do you deal with it? Do you get really unhappy, or do you take it as a part of creative process? Just because I know that you imagine really well, and it's
Yeah, actually, let me put it this way. Each part of the film is an emotional quotient. Let's say it is 100. When I imagine it, or any creator when he imagines it, it is like 100%. And it is created in parts, while writing it down on paper and putting it in dialogue or acting, whatever. When we put it on paper, it's one part, and when we actually go into the shoot, when the actors enact it out, it is one part, and how the cameraman places his camera and how he lights up and what are the properties or what are the sets around it is one part. And after it's captured on the camera, how we edit it and how we put the sound effects or the music to it. So whatever we imagine, it keeps being built block by block by block. But the biggest block is the actor's face, right? That's the biggest chunk. You need to get your emotions. I would say 70 to 80% of your emotion comes out from the actor's face. So if your job is well done there, more than 50% of your job is done, but you still know there are other jobs where you can enhance it, how you can get it right. Most of the time I try to get my actors to do the whole job, to do it in the perfect way, in the best way, so that I don't need to correct it. I just need to enhance it afterwards. So most of the time I was lucky with having good actors who could do most of the job, and I don't need to do any corrections. I just need to enhance it in the post. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Uncle, you daydream all the time. Were you good at studies? Did your parents scold you or appreciate you?
I was an average student. Recently, I was actually wondering myself whether I was a good student or a bad student. So I had when I was studying my fourth, I was good in studies. When I was in second, I was bad at studies. Then when I was in 10th, I was good. When I was in intermediate, I was bad. So I was wondering why I was fluctuating up and down, and I introspected why I was like that and realized whenever my teachers were not even good, I'm not talking about good teacher or bad teacher, when they were reassuring, when they didn't scare me, I was good one. I never did. Now I have to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question. I wanted to explore your creative process a little more. When you do something unprecedented like this, where do you get your visual language for that? Because it's something that hasn't been done before. Is it something that is completely original in your mind, or is it made out of fragments of things that you have seen elsewhere? In a way, I'm asking you, is there influences that you have, and if there are, what are those?
I'm rarely credited as being original. A lot of my inspiration come from Amar Chitrakathas. As a child, my father introduced me to my town library when I was studying my second standard, and when I just opened it, it used to be a very old wooden cupboard, and when I saw those comic books with pictures and stories. I was so fascinated with them. I used to spend hours and hours of my time reading those books. And that influence stayed with me for a very, very long time. Even today, I bought the whole copies of Amar Chitrakada again, and even today I read them again and again. That had a very big impact on me. And a lot of novels that I read, a lot of English films that I see, or the TV series that I see, they have a lot of influence on the kind of visuals that that my films has.
Mr. Rajamouli, I am Advocate Raj Shekharan. I just want to know, why did Kattappa kill Bahubali?
Add one more rupee to the producer.
Just contributed one more rupee to show.
Just few more months, sir, and you will definitely know the answer.
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah, this question to Sendil. I read somewhere your interviews a couple of months back, or when Bahubali was released, you had mentioned that you were not happy with the film where you are seeing a lot of errors, meaning either it's a color correction or a lot of other things, and you were able to achieve, or you're going to achieve, in this part 2.
No, it was actually like misquoted or misinterpreted than what I told. But anyway, like with part 2, we are trying to do what we couldn't do in part 1 because of various reasons, various aspects. And if you are blown with part 1, probably part 2, you can come prepared that you're definitely going to be blown out of in every aspect, whether taking acting, direction, cinematography, visual effects. So you are going to have a ball of a time watching this movie.
In fact, all the visual effects work is taking place across the globe. It's not just in studios in India, in Hyderabad or in Chennai, but across the globe. Shobhit, give us a sense of where all this work is happening right now as we speak.
I think it's roughly around 30 studios are working on it right now, from Ukraine to Iran to US to countries in Europe and India, obviously. So it's spread across the...
There was a minor scare, Shobhu, when some footage of the Bahubali part 2 got leaked. How major a scare was that? Because I believe that had some critical scenes as well. What really happened?
The scare was predominantly, I think a 2-minute clip came out. The clip itself by itself was not a problem, but it was how much more had gone out is a question, and what more is out there in the public domain.
So how do you plug those leaks, especially when it is happening in 30 different studios across the world?
It's difficult. We rely on people and trust, and because there are thousands of people working on this project, and everybody has this thing. So ultimately, it's trust. But we do have certain protocols and certain things that we ask the studios to follow, and in good faith, we hope that they follow because it's good for them and good for us.
Right. Rajamouli, when you look at your product and rate it against a lot of the Rings or any of the movies in different genres of this aspect, how would you kind of put your work as? Do you kind of compare?
On the global scale or Indian scale?
On the global scale.
On the global scale,
you are number one already.
Indian scale, we are pretty much ahead. We gave a very good quality product, but on global scale, there is much more to achieve. And we are hoping that we can do with this, as Sendil was saying, with part 2 there will be lesser and lesser mistakes and we will be on a much bigger scale.
Okay, we're all eager to see Bahubali part 2 on... Sorry? Please do.
When you imagine something which is larger than life, do you reimagine it from the audience perspective as well? Or do you just follow your instinct and just go with what you think? And then how difficult is it when it's larger than life to communicate it with two people sitting next to you? How difficult is it to explain it to the cameraman, or how difficult is it because it's complicated, it's massive.
When it's visualized, it's definitely the gut feeling. I don't have the audience in mind. I don't have the audience in mind. It is just that I need to feel very, very excited about for that particular thought to be a film or to be a part of the film. That is very, very important to me. Unless I get excited with it, I can't hope to please crores of people, just imagining maybe they will like it even though I don't like it. I don't think so. First, I have to get very, very excited about it. And in our Indian context, it's mostly, it is the director's energy or the excitement that transfers to the rest of the crew. This anecdote, this secret was told to me by Sindhil.
He's the captain of the ship.
Not just captain of the ship. One day during Magadir or some film, I was very upset that the unit was not progressing as fast, as quickly as I wanted to. So, and he casually said that the unit derives its energy from the director.
That's true.
That's true. So I suddenly realized that then that means I'm not feeling positive. That's being transferred to the unit. So so that's how it works.
Okay, before closing, I'm just curious, as thinking about it as you were speaking. Did your dad, when he told you the story, tell you the story of the two parts in one go? Or did he also build up the suspense as to why Kattappa killed Bahubali?
No, it was one story, one single story. Actually, it's like so many people thinking it's not a sequel. It's one story it's a big story. So we divided it into two films for because we can't release a 5-hour film. So he told me in one go.
Okay, so your dad did not keep the suspense, but he keeps the suspense till the 28th of April. Thank you very much, Team Bahubali, and all the best to you for Bahubali Part 2.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. I would also, so all the best to not the sequel, but the continuation of Bahubali to the entire team. I would request Mr. Arvind Saxena, who's the group marketing head for SIFI, to kindly come on stage and please give away a very small token of our appreciation for your presence. A big round of applause to the entire team. The making of a spectacle, Bahubali, R.S. Rajamouli, Sabu Cyril, K.K. Senthil and Mr. Shobhu.